Ah, excellent. Excellent. Hello, my lovelies. And you know what? This is absolutely lovely. I just want you to know that I don't take this for granted. What a joy that when I set up a live stream where I'm just going to just checking the microphone is on. I think we're all good. Yeah, I set up a live stream where I'm just going to point a camera at me and waffle for a while, and you're there. How wonderful is that? I turn the thing on and my friends are there. That's wonderful. So thank you so much. And a very warm welcome to Monday Night Live with me, Boaty. And I'm going to be coming into your eyes and your ears for, well, I don't know for how long, certainly for 58 minutes, possibly for longer. We will see how we go. So how have you been since, when did we see each other? Saturday. Oh, well, actually, no, we saw each other this afternoon, didn't we? Yeah, well, some of us did anyway. But this is the proper one, isn't it? This is Monday Night Live. So hit me up with all of your weekend news. How did your weekend go? What did you get up to? How are you coping with the onset of winter? It was freezing in the yard today. Not too bad to begin with, but once we got past bloody 5 o'clock, something like that, oh, God, it was cold. I hid in the caravan with the heater on. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But yeah, how has your Monday been? How has your week started? I've had a fabulous day, thank goodness. I'll tell you all about today, and there's not much to tell you about the weekend, to be honest. And you've seen it all on the daily diaries anyway. So talk to me about you instead. Now, who have we got? Pingu. Sorry, frog in throat. Why does this always happen as soon as I start? Happens at work as well. I'll be absolutely fine all through work. Talk. Turn the camera on, can't talk. Cough, splutter, forget how to speak English. Brilliant, isn't it? Right, let's see. Let's try again. Pingu Concord. Hello again, McBoaty. You made it home okay then? I have. Thank you, Pingu. Thank you for asking. In fact, I had a rather wonderful journey home. I decided that as I've got the new camera, that the new camera and I should come up with a name. I call them iPhone X, iPhone 11, iPhone 13. I name everything. Why do my phones or cameras, whatever you want to call them, why don't they have names? They should have names, really. Any suggestions would be very welcome. You're going weird colours again. The iPhone X, whatever its name is a bit weirdy, colory doodah. Anyway, so yeah, I decided that I would come home over the Snake Pass, and I decided that I would film driving it at night in Mingebag. And I enjoyed that very much indeed. I've got no idea how the film will come out. We shall see. But yeah, I've made it home absolutely okay, and I had an absolute blast. I've had a blast in Mingebag all day. She's been absolutely fabulous. What a car. Sorry, guys. Yeah, what a fabulous car Mingebag is. Somebody should buy her. Somebody should absolutely buy her before I have too much fun and decide I never want to get rid. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, there we are. Joe is here, Cars with JC, one of our community channels. Do check out Joe's channel if you haven't already. Search for Cars with JC, and that's Cars with a Z, unless you're American, in which case it is with a Z. Anyway, the point is, if you'd let me get a word in edgeways, Joe says good evening. And I would like to take this opportunity to say good evening to Joe. Isn't it funny how salutes are different around the world? I mean, British, long way up. short way down, open palm. American, just sort of, hey there, hey, could you make that large? Could I have more cheese with that? I want extra cheese, and I'll have the big bucket. And can I have more butter on my bucket? Yes, I know I'm in the army, but I still want butter on my bucket. And I'm going to have to stop there because I don't really know how any other countries look. Well, we know how that. Well, let's not talk about that, shall we? Steve Colg is here. Jolly good evening to you. Barry, that guy from SETI Alpha 5. Good evening, Jason and all. Good evening to you. Joe is hoping everyone is okay, which is very nice. Skick is right in our midst. He is. He's right amongst us. Skick is like the sausage in the community toad in the hole, if you ask me. And Skick says good evening to good evening all, he says. And we wish Skick a very good evening as well. Do the new MG aerials work? Asked Pingu. Well, what a very good question. And the answer is, I don't know. Here is Minjbag's aerial, and I haven't got around to doing it yet because I've got to get out that other bit of thread and I haven't had a chance to do it. So what I did was I put the aerial off wet leg onto Minjbag, so at least there's an aerial on there, stopping the thread from getting any more rusty. I'll bang a load of penetrating oil on her and I will get it sorted. The aerial off wet leg has got the bigger thread than this one, so I didn't need to change the adapter. It could just go straight on. The one on wet leg is fine and looks amazing, but I haven't driven the car yet, so I've got no idea if it works. I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't, although it is said that the MG Rovers were kind of designed for an aerial of the length that they actually had. And I've seen on a few groups and forums and whatnot, they're putting a stubby aerial on, does limit the performance of the wirelessness. But we shall find out. Jimmy Quinn is here. Good evening, Boaty and everyone. Good evening to you, Jimmy. Sophie Richardson, the lovely Sophie. We were talking about you today. Hello, everyone, and a jolly good hello to you. Hi, Boaty, says Soph. How are you, and how's your day been? My day, Soph, has been absolutely great. I've loved it. I got up. That's always a good start, isn't it? I got off at a reasonable time. I had a great journey to the yard. Had a great day with Mustard. We had a fabulous lunch. Did a live stream. And I had a great drive home over the Snake Pass. What a fabulous day. Loved it. Was a bit chilly. Good evening, sir, says Stiff Upper Lip, and a jolly good evening to you, Mr. Stiffy. I can't call you Mr. Stiffy, can I? How are we all, asked Barry. Oh, hello. Caroline Ellis is here and says hello. And hello to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a great Monday. Oh, dear. Hi, all, says Ross. 1 hour drive to a job, so I'll listen in through the car stereo. Jolly kind of you, Ross. Very kind of you to lend us your time and your vehicular ears in this fashion. I'm sure I speak for everybody when I say that we are most grateful. I apologise for not having shaved, by the way. I'm debating growing a beard. I do debate growing a beard sometimes, and I start to grow a beard, and then there normally comes a point where I think, well, that just looks scruffy. Occasionally I do go through with it and grow a full beard. Haven't done it for ages though, so but there is a tinge of laziness in there possibly, but we'll see how that goes. Joe saying hello to Soph. Barry, yes, unfortunately that is well, not tonight, Barry, but in due course, no doubt. Hit me with your rhythm stick, says Caroline, and if that's a euphemism, it would be my absolute pleasure. And hang on, I mentioned it, Jimmy Quinn comes in. Boaty, are you growing a beard? If so, it looks shit. Well, what about if I'm not growing it, Jimmy? Does that mean that it looks okay? What about if I'm just leaving it to its own devices? What about, I mean, one could argue that I'm not growing a beard. I have not instructed this beard to grow. I am not doing anything to facilitate the growth of said beard. What I'm doing is not shaving. So, does not doing something constitute doing something? Am I growing a beard, or am I merely failing to prevent a beard from growing? Now, there's a question for the ages, isn't there? Soph says, I have the cold and I'm filled with it. Oh, my sympathies, Sophie. There's a bit of allergy going around. I've half got it. Not too bad, he said, touching wood. But, Neil is here. Neil, aka the Gibbinator, the Gibbinator. I quite like making Neil European. Now, he's not European as far as I'm aware, but I quite like making him European. I mean, he's the nicest guy in the world, to be honest, but I like making him an international man of mystery with a bit of an accent. And, I don't know if am I allowed to talk about the thing that you sent me, Neil? Your new, is that a secret, or can we talk about it? I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm like that thing, aren't I, where you sit behind somebody and you put your hands underneath their arms and they talk and you do the hand actions. Yeah, I'm living proof of that. Ian Dury and the Blockhead, says Caroline. I know, darling. That was the first single that I ever bought. Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick by Ian Dury and indeed the Blockheads. Hit me slowly, hit me quick. Je t'adore, c'est fantastique. Hello. I didn't know it had a name, Neil. I didn't know it had a name. Bruce. I quite like that. Project Bruce. A bit of Bruce, Bruce. Higher than the formula. Oh, it's a 3. Unlucky. Right, yeah. Our friend Neil has a new acquisition. It's a car I'm extremely keen to drive once he's done the little bits and pieces of rectification that it requires. Because it is an MGZT, but it's a 1.8 turbo, that derivative, which I have never driven. I would be very interested to compare it to my mighty Stigbert von Thundercock, the 2.5 litre V6. I understand that in performance terms, they're not far away from each other, but the 1.8 turbo returns much better economy. Hello, Ben's here. Sup, fellow Boatistas, because Ben is cool. You know what I mean? Ben is one of those cool guys. If Ben was on the young ones, he would be Mike, the cool person. Hey, you guys. I'm just here being cool. But Ben is witty as well as being cool, and that's annoying. People shouldn't have 2 strings to their bow. It's not fair. If you're cool, you shouldn't be clever and witty as well. It should be one or the other. So, Ben, I need you to either stop being cool or stop being witty, please, because frankly, it's too much. Everything everywhere, says Caroline. How was the cooling? Asked Neil. Neil, good question, mate. I'll tell you the truth. Obviously, I monitored the temperature gauge like a hawk, and there was a good old traffic jam coming back through Glossop. And I was stationary or near stationary with the engine running for a good 20 minutes. Never needed to kick the fan in once, not during the whole day, which really annoyed me. I wanted to overheat so I could say, ha, you think you are overheating, do you, minge bag? No, because I have this magic switch, courtesy of my friend Neil. And I was hoping to deploy the magic switch, but I just didn't need to do it. Obviously, the cooler exterior air just meant that the engine fan coped on its own and the temperature gauge hasn't varied. But I'm glad that the switch is there because it meant that I didn't panic when I was sitting there or trying to avoid the traffic. I just thought, yeah, bring it on, because I'm prepared. Thanks to somebody else preparing me. It's basically me sitting in that traffic jam was like me going to school, perfectly clean, face washed, hair beautifully brushed, proper school uniform on, and my tie tied perfectly, except that my mother did all of it. And and basically in this weird traffic jam scenario, Neil was my mother, And I don't want you to think too much about that. Either the iPhone doing, says Pingo. That is a suggestion for the name for one of my phones. Either the iPhone doings. Yeah, but which one? Which one are you suggesting that for, Pingo? Caroline says, a pregnant pause. The interval and ice cream is available. Oh, there you go. So, right. Hit Caroline up if you fancy a tuppenny choc ice. God, those were the days, weren't they, when the ice cream lady used to come around the cinema? Not that I've got much experience of the cinema, I've told you before. The last time I went to the cinema was 1977 or whatever it was to watch Superman. And then I didn't go for about 70 years. And then I went and watched that thing that I've forgotten about. Oh, it had that really nice lady. What was it called? Oh, you told me last time and I've bloody forgotten again. The Halloween film. What? Oh, Hocus Turnip. That's the one. Thank you, Jason, for the shout out, says Joe. I'm getting close to 100. Good for you. What? Caroline, what are you on? Relax and use the toilet. Well, we've only been going for 17 minutes. It's a bit early for a bloody interval. And I'm not going to suggest that people relax and use the toilet. They might still be watching, and I would not be comfortable with anybody watching me on the toilet. Thank you very much. James is here, James Wilson. Good evening, Boaty and all. How's everyone doing? Good evening to you, James. Hope you're well. Stephen is right in our midst. Stephen Manning, good evening, Boaty and everyone. Good evening to you. Hello, Cheeseburger's here. Sorry I'm late, says Cheesy. Been watching Mike Brewer lose the Fiesta. How do you manage that? Bad Books is here. Oh my God, they're all here. Cheeseburger says, you still haven't shaved. I see. You only need a cowboy hat. You only need a cowboy hat, and you would look like Clint Eastwood in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I'll take that. I'll take that. I loved those spaghetti westerns, and Clint Eastwood in, what were they? There was A Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He was like the coolest guy ever in those, ever. So I would take looking like Clint Eastwood. Pingu says, show us your freaky fridge. Please open the door slowly and watch out for all the Zulu. Pingu, what are you on about, man? Are you pretending to be some sort of fridge pervert? Oh, well, never let it be said. I don't do what I'm asked. Behold, the fridge of splendor. And for those who are new to my fridge arrangements, that is the main fridge and freezer. And over there is the other fridge and freezer, which is the wine fridge and the curry freezer. Not to be confused with the... I mean, I hope that's clear. I wouldn't want there to be any fridge-based misunderstandings or anything of that nature. Barry says, I have grown a beard. It doesn't look too bad. I always grow a beard over winter. Winters in Missouri are fierce. Neil says, I genuinely thought you were going for a goatee. I might, Neil. I might well do. I'll get a little bit of, well, if I go with it, it might just disappear overnight. But I'll get a bit of growth going, and then I will shape a goatee into some sort of, well, it's like facial topiary, isn't it? Oh, bloody hell, Cheeseburger. Talk about too much information. He looks like the wife before the Brazilian. Bloody hell. Well, there's a mental picture that none of us needed. Oh, pass the mind bleach, someone. Dear God. And quite frankly, that's an insight into your wife's doings that none of us needed. Did your wife know you talk about her like that? You'd be in so much trouble. You'd be in so much trouble. I know you boast about you are in command of your home. You know who wears the trousers. It's all bluster and bluff. You'll be under the thumb just like the rest of us are or were. Not shaving, says Mark. This is Mark Passad, of course. Channel member, no less. And once again, a thank you to all of you fabulous channel members for your support. It makes all the difference. Oh, yes. And I'm incredibly grateful. I'm grateful to all of you, my lovely friends who keep me company on this, whatever this is. Oh my God, I do apologise. This bloody wide-angle camera. Last night's wine bottle. I was up and out of the door a bit early, and I haven't entirely tidied the kitchen. I do apologise. You've had to sit there and look at last night's wine bottle and an unwashed wine glass. I will go and wash this glass immediately, and I can only apologise for my slovenliness. Gosh, how embarrassing was that? I invite you round, you lovely people, and I don't even tidy the bloody kitchen up. I mean, in my defence, I have been out all day. I mean, I got up, I had coffee. What else did I do? Well, that was it really. I had coffee, I had my morning slice of toast, single slice, lavishly buttered. And then I got my arse out of the door and I headed off to the Yard of Dreams. And had a beautiful drive there. The roads were quite clear. As I mentioned, I was in Mingebag. Oh, I haven't half given Mingebag some stick tonight. Melanie Mingebag, for those who don't know, that's not actually her name. That's a bit of a pet name. Her real name is Betty Blue. And why I started calling her Melanie Mingebag, I don't know, but I did. And for those who don't know, Melanie Mingebag is my 2003 heavily modified MGTF, otherwise known as the Longbridge Lamborghini. And for those who aren't familiar with an MGTF, it's a convertible mid-engined rear-wheel drive sports car. And Mingebag is a fantastic example of the breed because she has been modded. She's got a full sport stainless steel exhaust that sounds amazing. She's been K-mapped, so she's running about 160 brake, which in something as light as that is more than enough power to get you into all sorts of trouble. She's got uprated brakes, bigger wheels, LED lighting throughout. Fantastic car. As I say, somebody should buy her, really. I'm amazed nobody has. Mark says, not shaving is an absence of action rather than an intentional act. Therefore, it is not in your gift to change. Well, Mark, you are, of course, entirely correct. And I would 100% agree with that, except that if you wanted to debate the point, you could argue that it's an intentional act not to act. Now, you could say that you are not then responsible necessarily for the you keep going a different color and it's putting me off. I don't mean you, I mean just the picture. I don't know why it's doing that. It kind of goes from, it goes a bit orangey and then fades in and out. Must be reacting to one of the lights. Silly phone. Yeah, you might argue that you're not responsible for the consequences of your intentional decision not to act, but there you go. It is a debating point. I named him Bruce, says Joe, talking about Neil's new car, as I would like him. Well, so would I. I mean, it's the right color, isn't it? Oh my God, Boaty, you are funny, says Sophie. Well, I'm glad one person thinks so. I thought you, well, I am here, says Caroline, and we are all delighted, Caroline. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that it's wonderful to have you as a thriving and dynamic part of our little community. And you are not once, not twice, but thrice welcome. I thought you called him Jim because you wanted to chin it, says Cheeseburger. And I've got no idea what that's in relation to. Neil says, Project Bruce, 81,000 miles, ZT18 Turbo, 8 months Mark 4, new tyres, new shocks all round, new front springs, new brakes last year. head gasket has thrown a wobble. Somebody has just done a nice thing, and I will immediately cease operation to find out. Oh, it's Jimmy. Jimmy Quinn, bless you. Jimmy Quinn has just become a channel member, and I'm jolly grateful to you, Jimmy. Thank you. For those who don't know, channel membership is a way that you can support me and support the channel. The way it works is you pay a nominal monthly sum, starting from 99p. And in return for that, you get some perks. You get to see videos early. You get to see naked pictures of my bottom. You get cake. You get Momo. You get hugs. And if you're on the top tier of membership, you get a timeshare arrangement with my cottage here, Windy Bottom, where you can spend up to 12 weeks of the year with me waiting on you hand and foot, stark naked apart from a black pinny. So yeah, that's how channel membership works. And if you want to support even more, you can actually buy a channel membership as a gift for somebody else. And Neil has done that on many occasions, bless him. A lot of you have got Neil to thank for gifted channel memberships, and he's not alone. Other people have done it as well. And I and the recipients are jolly grateful. So Jimmy, welcome to channel membership. And I will now seamlessly carry on with exactly where I got to. You won't even realise. And we talked about Neil's car. Head gasket's thrown a wobbler, but with a bit of fettling, it'll be a good race for Stiggy. Yeah, prepare to come second, mate. I love the new car, say Sophie. It's lovely. I can't wait to pick it up. Oh, I'm excited for you. I went to the cinema, says Boaty, every weekend with my parents as a kid, and later my girlfriend and friends. I've seen hundreds, maybe thousands of films. Well, good for you, sir. How far behind am I on these comments? Bloody hell. Clint is my favourite actor ever, says Boaty. Bloody hell, that bulb is bright, says Neil. Which bulb? Oh, in the fridge. Is that when I opened the fridge? Yeah, it is a bit. Reminds me a bit of Close Encounters, says Cheeseburger. Well, you asked me to open the door. I know you didn't. It was Pingu, wasn't it? I have a goatee, and that's John Stoodley. Good evening, John. And John goes on to say, hey, chat, and hey, Boaty. And hello to you. Oh, Cheeseburger admits he's not even in command of the greenhouse. I admire your honesty. No, please don't do that, Cheeseburger. Hello, Dan Peters is here. Hello, sir, Mr. Boaty. I join you on this cold evening. It is cold, isn't it? Hope you're well. I am indeed, Dan. It's kind of you to ask. I hope you are as well. In terms of white cars from earlier, he's talking about the earlier live stream, live from the caravan of podgered panties. Would you ever consider a white Rover P6V8? Well, if somebody offered me a white Rover P6V8, I would accept it gratefully. It wouldn't be my colour of choice, to be honest. Cheeseburger. Dan asks, have you ever owned a classic Mini, as in an Austin Mini? Yes, Dan. Yes, I have owned several. I have owned Bell Noses. I've owned Clubmans. I've owned an estate. I think I owned a van, and I think I had a 1275 GT. I used to be really into Minis back in the day, and yeah, I've owned quite a few of them. Quite the fan. And if you think the idea of me, all 6'5" of Boaty, driving a classic Mini is a bit funny, well, think about my friend, Martin, who bought Tyson Fury's Mini. Yeah, Tyson Fury, 6'9" of him, he owned a Mini. And Martin bought it from him. And Martin has a picture of Tyson squeezing into the damn thing. It looks absolutely ridiculous. It looks like your dad trying to get into the pedal car you had when you were 2 years old. But yeah, I've owned Minis and I've loved them. Very, very, very fond of them. My favorite one, I bought from a guy who did them up and modded them a bit. And I had this one with the back seat taken out the front seat set further back, a big old curved walnut dash. It was a fabulous little thing. I blew the engine up in it coming back from Wales, driving too quickly with who was I with? Donna, I think. Donna, my first fiance, the first potential Mrs. Boaty. So that was a long answer to a short question, wasn't it? Where did I get to? Cheeseburger says, Dan, Boaty has two-tone cars, silver and rust. Well, you and the horse you rode in on, Cheeseburger. And let me remind you, our friend General Cheeseburger is the first lord of shithousery. His shithousery is unparalleled in the Western world. James says, I'm on my 27th vinyl from 2 months of getting my first one. The 27th, which is the original 1970 Let It Be vinyl. So he's talking about records there. I did, Dan, he couldn't fit in a Mini, way too tall. I did, Cheeseburger. I did fit in a Mini. You would be amazed what I can drive. I mean, look, there is a video on my channel of me driving a 1965 Fiat 500. And that is even smaller than a Mini. I just have to learn to get myself into really small places. Make of that what you will. I'm an expert at it. In my experience, where there is a willy, there's a way. Oh, hang on. Is that another nice? Oh, Neil's gifted a membership. Oh, bless you, Neil. I wasn't hinting. Oh, right. We'll find out in due course who got that. Somebody will have got it by now. Guys, you should have a little thing pop up saying accept gifts. Make sure you've got that clicked. So if somebody does gift a membership, you will be eligible to cop for it. And being a channel member of mine is a wonderful thing. It's like winning first prize in the lottery of life, basically, or something like that. But yeah, I can fit in a Mini. Where there's a willy, there's a way. And there is always a way to get something unfeasibly large into a space where it really shouldn't fit. It can happen. Now, I've talked about this before. You know, being the size that I am, I do get asked, are there any cars that have beaten me that I simply can't drive? And there aren't really, but there are some that I shouldn't drive because I'm just not safe in them. And from memory, those are MG Midget, you know, just not enough room in there for me to drive it safely. I can drive them, but I'm not doing so safely. I can't get to the, you know, it's like accelerator or brake. Transitioning from one to the other requires me standing up, assuming the hood is down, shuffling my legs around. And, well, I mean, it doesn't literally, but you know what I mean. The other one is the Spitfire, Triumph Spitfire. And then the third one, and this was damning. I watched one of James's JM Cars videos where he test drove his dream car from when he was a kid, which was a Series 1 Lotus Esprit Turbo. And for anybody of my generation, that was the James Bond car that he grew up with. So the first chance I had to drive one, I was so excited. Had one come into the showroom. I was going out to get lunch for everybody. It was McDonald's or Burger King I was going to be honest. We used to eat a lot of crap back in those days. It was before I became a foodie, you know. So I set off in this Lotus and it was just too small. I had a hell of a job. I got there and I got back, but I couldn't drive it comfortably and I couldn't drive it safely, in all honesty. Later Esprits, okay. But that Series 1, whoa, bloody hell, that was tight. Where did I get to? Right, they're talking about rusty cars. I would love to own a classic Rover at some point, says Dan, and I certainly wouldn't sell it. I would garage it and keep it. Good for you. Did you notice, Jason, Bruce is gold, not silver? Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't. I thought it was silver. Oh, well, that's all right. That means I'm not going to want it now, so I won't be jealous. Excellent. Good news. Thank you, Joe. Dan has a question. I love Dan's questions. Mr. Boaty, sir, if I may, if you were given 10 of the King's English pounds, what meal would you make on a budget? Dan. Oh, is it? Oh, thank you very much. Right. I don't know what that's about. Apparently something is on the way. I haven't paid for anything, so I don't know how it can be on the way. Never mind. Right, Dan, let me explain something to you, dear boy. You're clearly rich. £10 is not making a meal on a budget. £10 is having all the money in the world to make a meal with. Now, I am poor and I frequently cook meals on a budget. My budget is normally £1, not £10. So for £10, I could make anything, really, pretty much anything. You name it, I could make it. I could certainly feed 30 people on £10 without any difficulty at all. But yeah, I mean, a budget meal, there are a couple of videos on my channel somewhere. I think they're called Boaty in the Kitchen, where I show you a couple of meals fabulous meals that you can make for well under £1. So check those out, Dan. £10. I could make anything with £10. I can't think, unless it was a stupidly expensive ingredient like a whole lobster or something. But a tenner, make anything, man. £10 is food budget for a week, not for one meal. Bloody hell. John is welcoming Jimmy to channel membership. I echo that. Very warm welcome. Right. Skick says, has Mustard got a car with a tow bar? No, he hasn't, Skick, at the moment, but I have. Boo has obviously got a tow bar, Boo the Land Rover. It would be good to see you go on an overnight adventure together and do a live. It won't happen, Skick. Well, actually, it might happen. It's never happened because Mustard is a good family man. His wife wouldn't like him having an overnight away for a jolly for no good reason. And Mustard would hate it. Mustard likes to be there to tuck his beautiful little girls in at night. He likes to be there in the morning to get them off to school. He's a great dad. He's a lousy husband. Doesn't even know where the Hoover is. But he's a great dad and a really good family man. So the overnight thing, but there is a possibility that it might, because as those of you who watched the live earlier may know, there is a possibility that we're going to be delivering a car that will be, if it goes ahead, if it went ahead, the car would be going to live on one of the remote islands of Scotland. And we would be going to the north of Scotland to deliver the car to the ferry. And it is too far to do in a single day. Mustard could just about do it, or if I lived in the same place as Mustard, we could do it between us, doing shifts driving. But if you add on an extra 4 hours for me to get to and from Mustard's, it's not going to be doable. So if that were to go ahead, there would have to be an overnight involved in that. Now, we're not going to be towing a caravan. It would be in an Airbnb or a cheap hotel or something. But we would still get drunk and do a live stream. So that would be fun. I'm really hoping that happens. I haven't been to Scotland for ages and ages and ages. Long time. And I'm very fond of Scotland. So I'm really hoping that happens. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I just need to put the wine in the freezer. Get it chilled down. And remind me to rinse my mouth so I don't spoil my wine with it tasting of Vimto. In fact, I'll tell you what, it's going to be wine o'clock in 19 minutes. I'll put this away. That'll do for tomato. And then I can clear my palate ready for the lovely alcohol. Now then, where did I get to? Yeah, so that's the answer to that, Skick. It would be great to do an overnight. We talked about it from day one of the caravan, and we did plan it. But when push comes to shove, Mustard wouldn't enjoy. Well, he would enjoy it, but he'd feel guilty. Plus, he'd get grief from Mrs. Mustard, and that's completely understandable. Um, it's enough for me to have a day away just because I love this place. I love Windy Bum. You know that it takes a lot to drag me away from Windy Bum for an overnight. Although obviously I'll be doing it on the first Monday of every month, and next year, all goes according to plan, I'm hoping to get back to doing some trips to the Maltese Islands through the worst of the winter. But certainly, when I was a family man, when I had a wife and kids, I hated being away. So I completely get how Mustard feels. I would do anything to be at home with my family. It's, I don't know, maybe it's a male thing. You want to be there to protect them just in case something unimaginable happens. You know, I mean, the truth is, when I was married, if somebody broke into the house and threatened us or threatened the children or whatever, I'd have let Mrs. Boaty deal with it because she was, I mean, you know, I can handle myself, but Mrs. Boaty was terrifying. I'll tell you a true story. I probably shouldn't. I'm probably being hideously indiscreet. But you don't know who the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty is, do you? So it doesn't matter if I tell you a story. This is true, right? Now, Mrs. Boaty had a former husband. He wasn't a nice man. He wasn't a nice human being. He wasn't a nice husband. And he wasn't a good father. He was none of those things. And he was very angry when Mrs. Boaty decided not to be his wife anymore. And that happened long before I came along. I had nothing to do with any of that. But then he became even angrier when I did come along, because, you know, it's one thing, you know, her not being married to him, but then it's another thing when another chap comes along. You know how it works. You know what men are like. And in the courting phase, he caused some difficulties. And before the divorce was fully settled, he still had legal access to the house. And one time, and he used to cause problems. Like, I was spending some time there, my car keys would go missing, that sort of thing. You know, he was just, well, whatever. But at one point, when I wasn't there, I hasten to add, there was an argument or something, and he got physical, and he attacked the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty. Well, I'll tell you what, he fucking regretted it. She beat the shit out of him. She beat 7 bells out of him. And he ended up going to the police and reporting her for assault. He went round to try and beat her up. She kicked 7 bells. Oh, God. And he ended up at the cop shop reporting her. Dear God, that made me so happy. Oh, dear, 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 dear. Where did I get to? Oh, yeah, that's right. I was talking to Skick, wasn't I? Cheeseburger says there's a great 2001 Xantia for sale. YouTube video, 40,000 genuine miles, one owner. I would love that. Xantia was one of the best cars I ever owned. I had 2 Xantias, and one of them was a really nice one, top spec with full leather and all of that. I remember being vaguely underwhelmed. Can't remember why, though. Oh, Dan says, I've recently joined as a channel member, so I think it's very well worthwhile thing to do. And I very much enjoyed the channel. Thank you. Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you for becoming a channel membership as well, a channel member. Bad Book says, did you see the Late Break Show barn find Montego Turbo B-Reg? Very early car and lots of other rovers. Great episode. No, I didn't, Bad Books. I've never watched a Late Break Show in my life. You did indeed, Joe. You did indeed donate 10 channel memberships, you kind person. Oh, and Jimmy's done a nice thing as well. Jimmy has done a super chat, a 1.99 super chat. Oh, thank you, Jimmy. Really grateful for that. And Skick echoes that. Well done, Jimmy, he says. If you had £1,000 to spend on a car, what car would you choose as a trading up challenge? Oh, what a good question, Dan. What a good question. Right, I'm going to give you an honest but boring answer to that, Dan. I wouldn't have a preconceived idea. I would see what came up and what was the best bargain and what had the best potential for resale. I mean, it would be a car that I was knowledgeable about and enthusiastic about, but I don't know. It would depend what came up. It could be, actually, this time of year, an MGF or an MGTF, they're on an upward curve in terms of collectability and value anyway. And obviously, you all know the rule. You buy a convertible in winter when they're cheaper. And if you sell them in spring or summer when they carry a premium. Ideally, spring. Spring is the best time to sell one. And early winter about now is the best time to buy one. So, yeah, if I had to pick one, I would go for an MGF. It'll be a 135, not the 160 VVC. I would not want a VVC. Thank you very much. I prefer the additional torque of the 135, the lack of peakiness, and the increased reliability. And I would go for, if possible, a limited edition model with a really nice spec on it. That one that we went to Coventry and didn't buy. If I'd have been on my own, I would have bought that car. And that would have been the perfect example of a car for a trading up challenge. It was a relatively early MGF. It was pre-facelift MGF, I think, if I remember correctly. It had leather, it had wood, really nice spec. Couple of potentially dodgy bits. I would have taken the chance. I would have bought that. I think, you guys will remember. I can't remember. I think we could have had that car for 500. Was it 450, 500, 550, something around there? I would have bought it, and that would have been a really good trading up car, or a complete disaster, obviously. At the end of the day, really good and total disaster. They're just two sides of the same coin, aren't they? Is someone calling for a drag race? Asked Neil. Oh yes, and we film it. Sophie, we are blessed with, well, I mean, you're more blessed with Sophie, obviously, Neil. But Sophie and Joe have proven themselves to be excellent filmographers, or whatever you call them, videographers. They're great. So we could do a drag race and they could film it in a very professional manner. And I'd be all over you, Neil. We'd have to have some kind of forfeit for the loser. Make it worthwhile. So just realised I'm not a channel member anymore. Oh, are you not? Oh, bless you. All right, they're talking about this. I once owned an Austin Mini 25th anniversary edition. I really do regret selling it. I gave it to my dad who sold it, but I really missed that car. It was 84 on a B with only 42,000 on the clock. John says, we heard you break wind in the live in the caravan, Boaty. Very funny. I was laughing for ages. It's my sense of humour. I don't remember breaking wind during a live stream. I did, didn't I? I did. Oh, yeah, but you can't count that. That was accidental. That was genuinely accidental. For those who didn't watch it, I was reclined in the caravan of lost pants, And I just went to put my feet up like that. And unfortunately, very unfortunately, as I lifted my legs to put my feet up, I did break wind. Completely unexpectedly. I do apologize for that. It's an age thing. I didn't do it on purpose. I mean, we've got a rule. There's no farting in the caravan, so I wouldn't have done that. And I certainly wouldn't do it on a live stream. But sometimes, darlings, you do not choose to fart. The fart chooses you. And when that happens, nothing you can do about it. You've just got to style it out. It happened to me once in a supermarket. I was just striding purposefully towards the baked bean aisle, and one popped out. And people looked at me, and I just stood still, threw out an arm and said, "Speak on, sweet lips that never spoke a lie." And just styled it out, carried on walking to the baked beans. Neil says, I had to go in the 1275 GT. Once I could dip the clutch, brake and accelerate it. And yeah. Gives a whole new meaning to heel and towing, doesn't it, Neil? The pedals in there. Dan says, I very much like Tyson Fury as a boxer. I like the way he's open and honest and isn't like most people that are rich and full of themselves. And he's a bit of a character, isn't he, Tyson? I mean, as a boxer, he's that one in a generation, isn't he? John Studley, here we are. Oh, well, this has worked out perfectly. John has been a member for 1 month. That's wonderful. Thank you, John. Much appreciated. Neil gifted a membership, and who got it? Sophie, his other half, who a couple of comments ago said, "Oh, I'm not a channel member anymore." And, maybe that's why Neil did it. But that's worked out perfectly. So, Sophie, welcome back to channel membership. And Momo and cake and all the good stuff. Is it wine time yet? To be honest with you guys, I'm getting ready for a glass of wine. Mark says, I agree with General Cheeseburger. I love my Xantia. And if we hadn't had our fourth child, bloody hell, Mark, get the telly fixed. I would have kept it, but had to get a 7-seater vintage Mercedes instead. Fit in a mini, says Cheeseburger. I bet you didn't podger on the back seat. I bet you £1 million I did. I bet you £1 million, Cheeseburger, that I bloody did. Donna and I were at it like rabbit. Right, that wasn't in my mini, although I'm sure we did it in my mini as well. Donna, my first fiance, actually, she was my girlfriend, but you know what it's like when you have your first serious relationship, you think, well, that's it. This is amazing. My first relationship, I'm going to marry her. And you always get engaged. It always fails, or nearly always fails. But when I met Donna, I didn't have a car. I didn't even have a driving license. I only got my driving license because Donna lost hers. And we were working together. We were running a pub together. And we needed to get to work because we weren't living at that pub. And she lost her license. She was caught driving with no insurance. So I had to get my driving test passed in short order. So yeah, I did it within a week. You could do that in those days. But when I first met Donna, she had a blue Lada that she paid £50 for. And then that was replaced. That caught fire a bit on our trip back from Wales, and one of the headlamps fell out. And that was replaced with a white Mini Clubman. Brilliant thing. And you know those in the arches of the back seat, you've got that great big deep pocket. That had no floor to it. We used to, I wouldn't do this now. Obviously, it's littering. We were kids. We didn't know any better. But that had no floor in it. So we used it as a rubbish disposal thing. And we just threw anything in there. It just dropped straight out the car and onto the road. But that was a brilliant little thing. And We were both living with our parents at that point, so that Mini saw a lot of action. A lot of action. Look, where there's a Willie, there's a way. What car would you love to own that is within a sensible budget of £5,000 and why? Ah, right, £5,000 to spend on a car. Oh, no, hang on. Ah, oh, well, I'll tell you what car I would love. My dream car at the moment, and I could just about get one for £5,000, would be a Discovery 3 in HSC trim, an early one, 2005. But to be honest, if you bought a Discovery 3 for £5,000, you'd need to budget £5,000 again to put everything right that is either already wrong with it or would go wrong with it in very short order. Other than that, £5,000, what would I buy? What would I buy? £5,000. Oh, how about a Jaguar X-Type 4-wheel drive estate 3-litre V6 with the Randall handle? That's a car that's still up there on my want one list. Let me see if I can think of any others. £5,000. Oh, a Rover 216 Vanden Plas or Vitesse, if you could find one. You'd probably get a decent one of those for £5,000. They're a bit few and far between. I mean, the original, what was it called? SD3. I'd love one of those. Maybe a Rover 800. No, maybe not a Rover 800. Can you buy a P6 for £5,000? I'm a bit out of touch. What else? Let's think. Can't think of it. Oh, I'm a minute early. I apologise. I take that wine back. My first was a Mini, say, Stephen. Your first car or your first pottering location? Neil says, cheeseburger. I managed it in a Mark 1 KA and a Saxo. Oh, easy. Oh, sorry, darlings. The internet got fed up of being an internet. Let's just give it a minute to stabilise. Going back to the £5,000 car, are you still there? You are there, aren't you? And it's now 11 o'clock. So cheers, darlings. You're very good health. Up yours. Bottoms up. Down the hatch. Okay, back to the £5,000 car thing. Thought of another one. I'm really into the Fs and TFs at the moment. And if I had to slim the fleet down, then quite honestly, I would have a daily car. And I'm loving the Streetwise as a daily. And the MGs, the F and the TF. And I would happily use one of those with a hardtop. I'd use one all year round. I was thinking today, I had so much fun driving home today. And it was just such a great experience that they're on a different level to anything else. They just give I love all of the fleet, but those just give a sensation that's so utterly different and utterly wonderful. Um, so how about adding? I've got an F, an early F. I've got a TF. So how about getting the one in between? How about getting a facelift F? Something like maybe a limited edition. I mean, with £5,000, you could get a really good one, couldn't you? So how about a limited edition facelift, all singing, all dancing MGF? Yeah, that would fit in nicely. And £5,000 would get you a really good sorted one, wouldn't it? So you wouldn't have to throw a load of money at it immediately like you would a Discovery 3. I think older cars are just better in every way, easy to fix and less to go wrong. Well, you have a point then. Cheeseburger is asking Neil how tall he is, and Neil answers 6'3". I can't get in a Saxo, says Barry, too small for me. I'm grand in a Saxo, no problem at all. If a lady asks, says Dan, I'll say I'm 5'8", but in reality I'm 5'6". A very good idea, channel membership, says Skick, and Boaty, you have loads now. And I'm very grateful for them. I'm very grateful for all of them. It's a wonderful thing. And yeah, I'm genuinely really grateful and moved by all of you lovely people who are willing to support me. I'm 6'3" or so, says Barry. And Cheeseburger says, there you go, Neil, 2 inches makes all the difference. I'm 6'5", says James. And the Rover, and I've met James, I can confirm that we are the same height. And a Rover 25 definitely has way more room in the front than a Mark 5 Astra, 100%. Have I missed one? Have I missed one? Joe says, I'm only joking, Jason, but I can't see what you were joking about. Oh, well, never mind. Mark 1 MX5 is the worst car for room in general. I've had one. In fairness, though, mine... Oh, I see, Joe. Right, gotcha. Oh, no, so it bloody is silver. Oh, you bugger. I'll be back to wanting it now. Oh, right. New rule, a new community rule. Nobody is allowed to buy a silver MG Rover because it's not fair. You know I'm going to want it. Even if I don't want it, I'll want it. Like that one that Allegro man. Oh, right. We're in competition, are we, Joe? Okay. That one that Allegro man did his no-nonsense sales pitch on Mustard's channel. I wanted that. If it's silver and MG, I want them all. I want all the silver ones. God help me. I'm starting to get a bit peckish again now. Had a hell of a lunch. It suddenly occurred to me that I haven't had doner kebab for ages and ages and ages. And it was Mustard's choice today. And we went to Istanbul so he could have a curry. And I went for the doner kebab. And in Istanbul, as in some other places in that area, the doner kebab is red. I assume it's just a food dye. But oh my God, it's so good. And when I've had it before from there, there's no way I could get through all of it. It's way too big a portion. And I ate the lot. I was so stuffed. I ate the lot. And I tell you what a bargain in takeaway terms. £5 with chips and salad, and it was fantastic. Probably amongst the best doner, maybe the best doner I've ever had from there. Absolutely fabulous. Right, where did I get to? Speaking of Fury, says Ben, good to see the Boaty boxing tip line is spot on with predictions. Ah, right, yeah. That what did remind me? I think I predicted that that Fury would fight Usyk, didn't I? Yeah, I think I did, and I was right. Follow me for more tips. I'm not a rich guy, sir, says Dan. I was brought up to know the value of money and to work and earn my keep. Good man. Good man. The Xantia is pretty much the only Citroen I do like, says James. God, how could you not like a CX? Surely it's impossible not to like a CX. The most fantastic car. I mean, a DS23 Palace, how could you not like that? How could you not love an SM or a CX Prestige or a CX GTI or even a 2CV? I know it's a bit hubnut, but I think 2CVs are utterly charming. Feature, what is your favourite Citroen? Dan says, would you ever consider doing a meals on a budget? I've got videos up about doing meals on a budget, Dan. And if you look at my Boaty's Noshes, which I put out every week, 7 days, 14 dishes, nearly all of those come in at under £1. Certainly all of the ones that I cook myself, they're about £1 or under. So my whole life is about meals on a budget because I'm poor. They have to be on a budget. Diddly do. Oh, we're talking Xantias. Oh, the suspension that sinks when you turn it off. That's the best suspension. When they put the anti-sink on, that spoiled it. That absolutely spoiled it. There was nothing cooler than leaving your Citroen parked up for a couple of days and you come back and it's flat on the floor. That's brilliant. And the other bonus is, before they had the anti-sink fitted, you could park your Citroen illegally and you couldn't be clamped because they can't get a clamp on when the suspension is right down. See, Citroen got all the bases covered. Who saw Johnny Smith's latest video? Not me, don't know who he is. Wow, are you off to Scotland? Asked Barry Scrugger. Probably not, but potentially. There's a potential deal on one of the cars that's being lightly discussed. And if that were to go through and come off, then we would need to deliver said car to Scotland. So, yeah. And I'm just praying that it does, because that's a road trip that I would love to do. If I was taking a rover to Scotland, says Cheeseburger, I would take the Gibbonator with me. Well, he is the 4th emergency service, isn't he? Oh, Neil, I cancelled my membership. I think it finishes at the end of the month. I did it. Good boy. So remind me, I've got to take out a new one. Yeah. Now, if we were to go to Scotland, then we would go in, well, the car that's sold, and that would get us there, no problem. And probably Barney, I suppose. And he would get us back, no problem. I would have confidence. Diddly do, diddly do, diddly do, diddly do. Oh, hello. This one's held for review. I agree, Dan. I agree. Dan's talking about burglars getting a slap on the wrist if they break into your property and put your family's life in danger. Whereas, of course, if you attack a burglar, you'll probably end up in choky. Good on her, says Barry. Oh, yeah, Mrs. Boaty. That was brilliant, wasn't it? I loved that. Pingu says, how much would you need for a Malta holiday this winter? Us bogs could crowdfund it. Oh, God. Crowdfund it, says Cheeseburger. He can only fill a phone box. Oh, that's a very kind thought. To be honest, I don't know. Now, I used to do it regularly, and my idea was that from January through till March, which tended to be the worst months of the winter, I would just go out once a month for 2 or 3 nights. And in those days, it used to be double cheap. Fly out with Ryanair, maybe 40 quid return, maximum 80 quid return. I used to pay about 100 quid in the best hotel for a really nice room, and then however much it was for my car. And I've got loads of friends there, so it's really cheap when I'm out there. My friend's got a restaurant. I eat there, so the whole thing used to cost me about 300 quid. 300 quid top whack, maybe even less. I've no idea what the prices are now because I've not done it since the pandemic. In those days, I was paying full price for cigarettes. So whatever the trip cost me, if I bought duty free or cheaper cigarettes, then that would effectively make the trip free. But I just found it was a great way of getting through the winter. Having those, sorry, frog in throat again. Having those few days of sun per month was, just topped up your serotonin levels or whatever they're called, gave you something to look forward to. And it was a great way of doing things. And as I say, I've got friends out there. I had a whole separate life. I miss it. I miss it very much. My first trip of the year was always for my birthday. And I miss that most of all, my birthday trip. And I always had the same routine for my actual birthday itself. Every time I'm out in Malta, I have at least one day where I drive to Gozo. So that means driving to Chikera at the very north of Malta, jumping on the ferry, heading over to Mgar on Gozo. And then I would head to Jlendi Bay, and very specifically St. Patrick's Hotel. And I would have my birthday lunch there. One of my favorite places in the world, Jlendi Bay. Since I was there, it's been a little bit more ruined, but I'm willing to bet that it's still magical. What a fantastic place to just eat right, with the ocean lapping at your feet. Beautiful Maltese food, beautiful Maltese house wine, cheap as chips, amazing, fresh. If you're into seafood, then you would eat what was caught fresh that morning. It's just amazing. And I miss that. I miss the birthday trip most of all. So I'm really hoping that next year I can get out there for my birthday. But in terms of cost now, I've got no idea how it compares to when I was doing it regularly. I don't know how the pandemic has affected things. I'm going to look now, Pingu, just out of interest. So bear with me. I'm just going to check Ryanair. I've got an app somewhere, or I used to have. Haven't used it for a couple of years. Where's that gone? Oh, there it is. Oh, I need to download it. So I'm just out of interest, because I've got no idea how prices compare to what it used to be so cheap. Installing, come on. Oh no, that's not Ryanair, sorry, that's Flight Radar 24, completely the wrong one. Where's Ryanair gone then? I used to have it. Not there. Oh, I've obviously deleted it because I've not used it for so long. Let's have a look. Search Ryanair. Yeah, I deleted it. Bloody hell. That tells you a story, doesn't it? Right, let's download that and have a look. Because back in the day, if I was booking flights now for January, I guarantee you they'd be £19.99 each way. No need for extra luggage or anything like that. I suspect that since the pandemic, they're probably a lot more expensive now. Yes, I agree. Log in. Oh, God. Continue with, oh, Jesus. Yes, I do. Why do I have to sign in? Why can I not just look? Oh, no, not right now, not right now. I'm already signed. I've got an account. I just can't remember how to sign into it. Right, let's search. Oh, it's all changed. Right, return from East Midlands to, I think it's MLA, isn't it? Yeah. Dates. October, November, December, January. Saturday the 13th. That would get me out there for my birthday. Select. Oh, no, that's wrong. That's coming back same day. I don't want to do that. Hold on. So let's come back on the 20th. There we are. Select. Let's go. £24.44 going out. So that's not too bad. That's only like £5 more than it used to be. Only 4 tickets left at that fare. Basic. Oh, and £27.23 coming back. So yeah, not bad actually. You can still do it on the cheap. So what was that? About 50 quid return flights? Yeah. I'm quite surprised. I thought they might be a lot more expensive than that these days. So it is still doable. I don't know how the hotel prices have changed, but I always stayed in the same hotel. And they know me. I've stayed there a hell of a lot of times, and I always got looked after. Quite an informal thing. I would just book the cheapest possible room that they had, and when I actually rocked up and got to reception, they'd say, "Oh, hello, blah blah blah," and they'd upgrade me to the best room that they had for the price of the cheapest one. So that worked well. God, I wonder if I'd still get that now. I haven't been for however long it is. Is it 3 years since I've been? I think, God, it must be because the last time I was there, I was with Boo. I had Boo with me. And how long have we been split up now? Well, there we are. Where did I get to? Was the MGF Trophy 500 so named, asked Cheeseburger, because it's only worth £500? No, trophies are doing money now. Neil says, I've just checked mapping on a 1.8 turbo. You can get them to 185 brake. The only thing you would have me on is torque and driving ability, Neil. That's a joke. That was a joke, actually. Yeah. But if you map it, that's cheating. That's cheating if you put a map on it, because I could put a map on Stigbutt and then it would have more than you. Sophie is a fantastic camera lady, says Joe. The shots he got for our videos were brilliant. Joe, congratulations on your video, mate. I had a quick look at it the other night again. Views are great. Views are doing really well. Well done, mate. It was a good video. Jimmy's owned a 59 Mini 850, a 64 Mini Cooper, a 66 Mini Cooper with twin petrol tanks and 3 minivans. Blimey. Okay, Neil. Well done, mate. Oh, Joe's glad that Sophie got the membership. So am I. John Stoodley has come out with the old one. Yeah. I'll give you the full thing if I can remember it, John. Where'er you are, where'er you be, let your wind go free. For the want of a fart was the death of me. Yeah, you would have read that somewhere. That's a good old one, that one. Skick says, it's good to see how many people are channel members now, Joe. They're a really good way of supporting the channel. And, oh, well, I won't read that last bit, but yeah, I completely agree with you, Skick. Completely agree with you. And 5K for a car, says Cheeseburger. This should be called the 5K Knackered Rover Challenge. Just gone 11 o'clock, Boaty. I would get the wine out. Well, that means that I'm 22 minutes behind on the comments. That's about par for the course. Barry says, I podgered a bridesmaid in the back of my 280 Capri. I podgered Kung Fu Mistress Claire in my Maestro. And James asked, why are people talking about podgering? Okay, I should explain this, shouldn't I? Because some of you might not know. Right, James and anybody else who doesn't know. Podgering is my own term for beastliness, marital unpleasantness, conjugal duties. You get what I mean? And it's just a way of referring to it without using any graphic references that could offend somebody or, more importantly, get my video demonetized. So, yeah, that's what, yeah, well, Barry's put it in fewer words than me, but yeah, absolutely. Cheeseburger, many a true word spoken in jest. Why is everybody talking about podgering? Asked James. Cheeseburger says, James, because we aren't getting any. You will be old one day. Many a true word spoken in jest. Yeah, I'm on a bit of a dry spell, to be honest with you, darlings. Not a sniff since that night in Rill that I didn't tell you about. I've only told Mustard about that. Forget I said anything, as you were. Interesting, Joe. Joe asked, what cars are you looking to sell from the fleet and which ones are you looking to keep from the car selling business? Right. What I think is this. I love, hang on. Low tide at Glass Bay. I need replenishment. It's a good question, this, and I would like to answer it properly. This is what I came up with, Joe. And I hope this makes sense to you or anybody else. Now, obviously, when it comes to Mustard and Boaty do cars, we buy cars that are specifically intended to be worked on and sold, hopefully for a little profit. So we get a little bit of profit, a little bit of pocket money out of it. And it is only a little bit. It really is a little bit. But it's just a way of keeping it going, puts a couple of quid in our pocket. It's not a massive amount. It really isn't. You know, we're talking about, by the time everything's said and done, then, you know, if we get 100 quid each, then that's probably it. But we're poor. Every little helps. So that's the most, obviously, sometimes we end up hanging on to one for a while or whatever. But my idea with my fleet is this. They won't overtly be for sale. I'm not going to advertise them for sale. But green things keep popping up on there. And green things mean people are doing nice things. And they're popping up on that screen, which is miles away. And I can't see what the nice things are. And I'm not seeing them on here. So if any of you are doing nice things and I'm missing them, I'm not missing them on purpose. It's just they're flashing up over there, but not here. and hopefully they're in the chat and I will get to them, but I'm not ignoring them on purpose, I promise. Right, so my own cars on the fleet, I love them all. I won't advertise them for sale. I won't actively try and sell them. But for community members, people in our community, in our thing, any one of them, each and every one is available for sale. If any of you guys or any of the community, any of our thing, whatever it is, call it a community. If any of you have got your heart set on one of my cars, one of my fleet, you can have it. All you've got to do is two things. One is you've got to pay me a fair price. Two is you've got to promise to give it an amazing home. And on that basis, any of you can have any of my cars. So that's the way it's going to be with them. I'm not actively going to try and sell any of them, but to you guys, they are all available. So all you would have to do is just talk to me. And I literally mean any of them. So even the ones that I love the most. So Sheeson, Minge Bag, yeah. If you've got a yearning desire for them, you're going to give them an amazing home and pay a fair price. You can have them. You can have them with my blessing, because it will be going to they would be going to a friend. I would still have contact with them. They would still be in the community, and somebody would be getting what they really wanted, and they would be going to a great home. And that's kind of what all of this is about. And if that happened, then that car would be replaced with another one, which would come into my fleet, and I would look after that one until somebody else wanted it even more than I did. So that's my idea with them. There will be other cars that we buy, that I buy or that we buy, that are literally just to turn over. But all of the cars on my fleet are available to you lot. I'm just not going to advertise them to any Tom, Dick or Harry. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Oh, video title. I forgot about that. Where did I get to? Right, yeah. Not reading that one out. I'm not reading that one out. I've read that one out. I'm not reading that one out. Video title. I was looking for channel members and it gave me cigarettes and alcohol. Oh, right. That's an Oasis reference, isn't it? Well, I'm not reading that one out. Just screenshot that. Oh, just godlike is in our midst. Hi, Boaty. Hi, all. Hope you're all well. Much love to all. That's very kind. And we throw the same back at you. In my neck of the woods, says Stephen, most MG Rover have a hefty price tag. Even the tatty ones with loads of rust or parts required and no MOT are stupid money. But hey, I dream of 5,000 quid to spend on a motor. Well, yeah. We don't remember the CX. They'd all rotted out by 1979. No, they hadn't. No, they hadn't. I had my first CX, my Athena, in about 91, 92. And then had plenty more after that, and they were not rotten at all. And you, Cheeseburger, are a very naughty man. I've got a 23 plate C3 and I love it, says just godlike. Good for you. Is Ram back at the restaurant yet? Yes, he is, Sophie. He is, and very welcome he is too. And Bishnu is now in Nepal, and he has promised to send me some bits of footage that I can share with you all. But yeah, Ram is back, so our little family are back together. Well, they're arguing over Neil's car. Apparently everybody else apart from Neil owns Neil's car. Sophie and Joe are fighting over it now. Video title, 6'3" in the back of a Mini with an anti-sync device. Oh, that's a good one, actually. That's a good one. Never got on with Renault, James, says Cheeseburger. Oh, because James said the other French car he likes is the pre-facelift Renault Safran. especially the bi-turbo, which never came to the UK. Oh, well, Renaults. Let's talk about Renaults. Never got on with Renault, says Cheeseburger. Nearly bought a Laguna in '94, but got a better deal on a Carina. I have owned Renault. I have got a massive soft spot for the Renault 25, or I used to have. My father had a Renault 30 TX, and I had a soft spot for that. I had a soft spot for the Renault 16 TX, and that was supposed to be my first car. But when we went to look at it, I had my heart set on the 16 TX, and we went to look at it. It was rotten as a pear, and so we bought the Ambassador instead. But I would have loved that Renault 16 TX. Renaults I've owned. I had a Renault 4 van, whatever you call the van. I can't remember what the particular name for it was, but that was a fabulous thing. Oh, I've told you. That was when I was engaged to Donna, and of course it was called the Jason Donovan. Get it? I thought that was clever at the time. But I don't mind a Renault. I don't mind a Renault. Haven't had anything since a Renault 25, but I was a big fan of the Renault 25. I did like them. Oh, that's a clever one. Video title: Malta free flights with John Player. Not a bad one, Cheesy. We'll screenshot that. Joe says, let's all go on a community holiday abroad. Well, Neil did talk about Neil and Soph talked about coming to Malta with me for my birthday trip. And if anybody else fancied it, my God, you'd be more than welcome. Flights to Malta are plentiful from a hotel near you, from an airport near you. And it's a lovely place to go in the winter months. It's cheap as chips, or it used to be. Hopefully it still is. And the weather's not too bad. I mean, it's often been 20 degrees when I've been there in January. And that's quite balmy. And that's balmy with an L rather than an R. And obviously I know the islands like the back of my hand. I know every square inch. So I could make sure that you avoided all of the bad bits and only saw the good bits. That'd be so much fun. I've got some brilliant stories to tell you about Malta. And I haven't got my favorite. Remind me to tell you the story about the famous hockey player, me, Fran, and the super famous ice hockey player. And I'll tell you that story tomorrow. Please remind me. It's a good story. Oh, bloody hell, Cheeseburger. You have to spoil it, don't you? Joe, great idea about the community holiday. Cliff Richard can drive the bus and Jimmy Savile can be the conductor. Isn't he spending some time being dead at the moment for publicity avoidance purposes? Ross has just arrived at the bottom of the Mornington Peninsula, beautiful part of Victoria. Oh, my friend Chris must be back there now. I wonder if Chris is watching this one while he's traveling to work somewhere near Ross. Ross, you and Chris should get together. I'm sure you're in the same part of the world. Spring day, 15 degrees and sunny in Australia for us. Cheeseburger says we should crowdfund Boaty's outward leg. The more we raise, the further we can send him. As I say, first division shithousery from Cheeseburger. Oh, dear. Oh, I know what pottering is, saying James. I was just wondering why everyone is talking about it. Well, I think Pingu nailed it. We talk about it because we're not getting it. Oh, hello, Mustard's here. Project Nigel. Hello, hamsters. Have I missed anything? No, not a sausage. Not a sausage, dear boy. Stephen was a big Blue Oval fan back in the day, as was I. Oh, Steve Cole podgered someone in a car once in a Rover 400, the one with the big boot. What, is that the car or the person that you podgered? Which had the big boot? And Sophie loved doing camera shots and videos, and you were jolly good at it too, Soph. Good shout, Boaty. Same with my cars, says Mustard. Oh, and I assume that's talking about the fleet being for sale to the right person. So, yeah, I mean, Mustard is in a similar position. I think the thing is with Mustard and I, because of the YouTube thing that we do and whatnot, there are always going to be new cars on the horizon. So as much as we love a car, if somebody really wanted it and we knew that it was a friend and a community member and we would still have contact with the car, we would let it go, no matter how much we loved it. I mean, if one of you guys fell in love with Toby Charles, and why would you not? Mustard would sell it to you. I mean, you'd have to pay the right money, obviously, but Mustard would sell it to you and it would break his heart for about 3 weeks until the next one came along and he'd fall in love with that one instead. That's the way it works. So yeah, that's the way it goes. The Mustard and Boaty do cars, they're all obviously available for sale and all of them will at some point be advertised. A lot of them are not getting advertised because people are interested from the get-go. Like the 414, that gorgeous little 414. Somebody has said that they really want, I won't say who, but somebody said that they really want that car. We know that it would be an amazing home for the car, the best that you could wish for. And so we've not advertised it or anything like that because we want to give this person time to try and sort things out because we would love them to have the car. So if you've wondered why some are not being advertised, it's because as soon as a car comes along, often somebody will express what we think is a serious interest in it. I've talked a bit about that on some videos today that will be coming out. Because of the situation at the yard, and I'm to blame for some of it, so I've got 2 cars clogging up the yard at the moment, Boo and Brian. I didn't get to go around all of the cars. I didn't get to play with the ZS 180, which I will do at some point. I didn't get to play with Toby Charles, but I went around a couple of these sales cars at the yard and did a bit of a reminder and a bit of chat about them. But if you've wondered why they're not advertised, it's because there is already interest in them. And we would obviously prefer the car to go to a known quantity. If we have to advertise the car for sale and sell it to somebody that we don't know, that's like a worst case scenario for us. We would always rather it went to a known quantity, one of our friends, somebody in the community, even if that meant letting it go for a sorry, talking all day, you see. 2-hour live stream, 1.5-hour lunch video. You get a bit, sorry, you get a bit frog in throaty. Gosh, I've done nothing but talk tonight. Yeah, so in an ideal world, all of the cars would get moved on to people in the community, and hopefully that will become easier as our little community becomes a little bigger. It's never going to be huge, and I don't think we want it to be. I think both Mustard and I love the fact that we've got a fairly close knit little community. And I'm talking about our inner scrotums. I mean, obviously, Mustard gets lots of views on his videos. I'm starting to get very good views on some of mine. But I'm talking about the actual community, the loyal little core. And that's where we would love the cars to go. And advertising them, to be perfectly honest, is a last resort. And when we do advertise them, and believe me, this is true, we cherry pick. If we get the sense that somebody is going to be a bad home for the car, or a suboptimal home, or a less than ideal home, then we weren't engaged with them and we won't let them have the car. Now, the Streetwise is the perfect example of that. We went out of our way to deliver that Streetwise to Norwich. As you know, there's videos on it. Now, that's madness. We didn't make enough money from that to justify doing it, in all honesty. But we each had a laugh with our best mate. We had a great road trip. But we knew the car was going to a great home, you see. And that's a big factor, because you might think that it's a bit of a sales pitch. Yeah, we buy these cars, we save them, we find an amazing home for them. It's true. It is true. And that's why we've both got various little tricks to make sure that they go to a good home, and we will hang on to them until that good home appears. To the best of my knowledge, we've not sold one yet to a dodgy home, and we never would knowingly. And the unknown banker feels the same way, and he's fine with the cars hanging about for, he or she is fine with the cars hanging about for it. Stop talking about that and move on to some comments, please. Sophie and Joe are still fighting over Bruce, the new ZT. And Neil, can I just say, it's my bloody motor. Well said, Neil. Put your bloody foot down with a firm hand, man. Good answer to my question. Thanks, Jason. You're welcome, Joe. I hope it made sense, because that is the situation with mine and Mustard. Oh, I'm looking forward to supper now. Mustard, have you eaten? What did you have? What did you have? Because you didn't eat as much as me this lunchtime, unusually. I know what I'm going to have, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'd love Stigbut, says James, but I have a lovely 45. I do miss 75 straight ZT ownership, but definitely happy with my 45 than the previous 25. Me and automatics don't work. I always preferred an auto. I love the Renault 25, says Mustard. I genuinely did love the 25. Now, when I had the car dealership, then obviously I'd go out in flash cars. But once the novelty of going out in a flash car wears off, and believe me, it does. You'd think it wouldn't, but it does. And it kind of depends on where you're going. Now, with me, it very quickly got to the stage that unless I was going somewhere flash where I needed or wanted to impress, or I was in a situation where I needed or wanted to impress a lady, I stopped going in the flash things. Now, if I was going to the Bel Air, then yeah, I'm going to go in a Bentley or a Ferrari or something. But for a lot of the running about, I would use something a lot more mundane. And for quite a number of years, my go-to smoker was a Renault 25. And when a 25 used to come in part exchange, I always gave a little bit more than my head would tell me to, or the book would suggest. Because in my day, you had the book, Glasses Guide. And that was your Bible, your Bibli. And I would always go a little bit over on, hello, what's that? Oh, thank you, John. I would love to sell you one of my cars in the future. I'm sure that you would be a fantastic home for one. What was I talking about? Yeah, I would always give a little bit more for a nice 25. Because I knew that I would enjoy using it myself. And you could always buy 25s for behind book anyway, back in those days. I did like the Renault Fuego, says Cheeseburger, mainly because when I was in high school, one of the MILFs drove one. They had amazingly comfortable seats, if I remember. Oh, Steve. Oh, no, bad news. Fucking marvellous. Just boil some spuds for mash and I've no butter. Oh, it's not the same without butter, is it? You need the butter in there. Have you got anything? Creamed horseradish sauce or anything that you can whack in there? I'm not a fan of milk or cream in mashed potato. Well, I'm not a fan of milk or cream, full stop. Think there was a Renault 25 bi-turbo, says Bad Books. Don't recall that. Always liked the Renault Fuego Turbo. The Safran bi-turbo is the king of all Renaults to me, says James. I would go to Malta with you, Boaty, says Skick. You could be my valet. If you paid for my airfare, I would gladly be your valet, mate. No problem. I would show you around the islands. The islands. We'd do them all. Malta, Gozo, Camino, not St. Peter's, St. Paul's, rather. Not in winter. There's nothing to see there anyway, apart from a statue. Oh, and some dead people. For some reason, people take their dead relatives to St. Paul and bury them in makeshift graves. Weird thing, or they used to anyway. I would love some of you to come to Malta with me. I would love to share it with you. That could be a new thing. I've not been to Malta since, oh God, well before the channel started. So maybe that could be our thing. We'll have a winter community trip to Malta. It really is cheap. Well, it really was cheap, and hopefully it still is. So could be an economical jolly for us. Oh, Pingu, bless you. Pingu says, okay, Boaty, a GoFundMe page has been set up for your holiday. Oh, I will post a link in the Facebook group. Oh my God. Oh, I don't know what to say to that. Oh, Lordy, I didn't think you were saying, oh my God. Oh, hang on. I'm a little bit moved by that and I don't want to cry on camera. I'll top up my wine instead. Oh God, what a lovely thing. Bless you. Sorry, darling, you disappeared. The internet left us again. Let's give you a minute to stabilize yourself. Gosh, I really don't know what to say to that. I don't know what to say to that. Mind you, I haven't seen what the page says yet. He could have taken up Cheeseburger's idea and said, help us buy a one-way ticket for this guy. Hopefully he won't come back. Oh, Pingu, bless you. You're such a kind man. Oh, God, it's 10 to midnight. We'll have to talk about this tomorrow. Oh, dear. I'm genuinely moved by that. Sorry, I'm struggling a bit here. John Stoodley has sent a super chat. What a lovely man. Let me just heart that. Thank you, John. I'm really grateful. If you agree to those terms, says Skick, I would pay for the flights. I'll do it. Okay, if you want to talk about Malta, guys, we can do that all this week. I've got loads of stories. And if I haven't got time to do it tonight. It's 10 to midnight. But I have got loads of Malta stories. I'll give you all of the backstory to Malta. And in all seriousness, talking about Skick, Skick's talking about, those terms and chauffeuring him and whatnot. I've done it before. Those of you who are Facebook friends can see all of this on Facebook if you scroll back far enough. But I'll give you some examples and I'll tell you all of the stories. And if you're not Facebook friends with me, you're very welcome to me. It's I think the link is Facebook something Big Boaty is my Facebook link. My name is Jason Parry Hughes, if you didn't know. But I think if you type in Big Boaty, that's my Facebook nickname thing, get you to my page. And if any of you would like to be Facebook friends, absolutely fine with me. Absolutely fine with me. I would gladly accept your friend's request. Fortunately, Cheeseburger doesn't do Facebook, so I can be rude about him on my profile. But yeah, there was one time I was in Malta. It was when I was doing it regularly. And a package tour arrived at the hotel. And I was sitting at breakfast next door to a table where an elderly lady had become friendly with other people who were on the same package tour. And they were talking about what was going on that day. Now, the elderly lady, I'm just eavesdropping. I'm there on my own. I'm alone. I'm sitting in the breakfast room. I'm people watching. I'm listening. Now, the elderly lady, she was an amputee. She was obviously a wheelchair user. And I was just listening to the chat. And she had... she'd had to sell her home and she was going into a nursing home. She was an ex-nurse herself. She was in her late 80s. She was an amputee, and she was and she was going into a nursing home, and she was giving herself one last holiday before she went into the full nursing home experience. And she was talking with these people about their plans for the day, and the people were telling her what they were going to do. And they were going into the capital, into Valletta, they were getting the bus, so on and so on and so on. And Mary, this lady's name was Mary, she was saying, "Oh, I won't be able to get the bus. They're not disabled friendly. It's too far to get to the bus stop, so on and so." And they're just going through all of this, and I'm listening to all of this. And so as they were coming towards the end of their breakfast, I just sidled over and said, "Pardon me," introduced myself, and I said, "I couldn't, obviously I'm at the table next door, I couldn't help overhearing you. I spend a lot of time in the Maltese Islands. I have a car. I would be very, very glad to show you around, if you would like to. And if you would like to chat to the staff in the hotel, they will tell you that I'm not a mad axe murderer or anything like that." And to cut a long story short, because I've got comments to get through, we spent 4 days together. I was there for another 4 days, and we spent every hour of every day together, me and Mary. I showed her all of the islands, drove her everywhere. I took her around Valletta. I took her around Mdina, the old capital. I took her on a horse carriage trip. I took her to Gozo. I took her to the best restaurants, and literally all the time that, because that was the first morning I was there, that breakfast thing. And I was on a 4-day trip, and I spent the whole of my 4 days with her. Literally, we met in the morning. We had breakfast. She was with me the whole day. I put the wheelchair in the back of the car, made sure that she saw everything, pushed her in the wheelchair when we parked the car up. I made sure she had an amazing holiday. She saw the lot, the whole kit and caboodle. And I was with her all day until I tucked her into her hotel room at night, made sure she had everything she needed, got her stuff from the supermarket, so on and so on. And a bit like having a kid, only when she was tucked up in her room at night, then I went to the casino and went to my friends at the restaurant and whatnot. And I did that the whole 4 days that we were there. God, I mean, it kind of broke my heart a bit. On the last day, on the day that I was going, she was going to be there for another 3 days, I think. And she came to see me in my room, and it was really quite emotional and tearful and all of that. And all the time that we were together, I took loads and loads of pictures. I took it to Gozo and everything. I took it to Gozo. I've got pictures of it, and I took a shed load of pictures. And when I got home, because we kept in touch, we exchanged addresses, all of that. And when I got home, all of the pictures, I had them made into a photo album. You can do it online, and you can order a photograph album book. And so all of the photos went into a book, and I had the book sent to her. So she had that as a memory thing. And we kept in touch until she died. Not just letters, telephone calls. We used to chat on the phone. Bless her, she was amazing. God, I haven't talked about this for ages. And if you go onto my Facebook profile, then you will see all of the pictures of me and Mary together and the adventures that we had over there. She was brilliant. She's an octogenarian amputee, and there was nothing that she wasn't up for. And there was nothing that I wasn't up for, because I was determined she wasn't going to miss a thing on that holiday. I've worked in nursing homes. I know what it's like. And she'd been a nurse. She'd been a lifelong nurse. She was losing her independence. I made sure she bloody enjoyed that holiday. So she did everything that you could do around the islands. I didn't care how difficult it was. I'd shove her in the wheelchair. I'd have carried her on my back if I needed to. And we did the whole kit and caboodle. And yeah, on my Facebook, there are loads and loads of pictures of me and Mary and our time together and all of that. And I've got loads more stories like that about Malta. Lots of things that have happened. Oh, I'll tell you them all, but I can't do it tonight because I've got 2 minutes left and I need to eat and sleep and you guys need to get off. So let's get through the comments. Right, I'll get my breath back. I'm a bit emotional talking about that and talking about Mary. Sorry, guys. God, she was lovely. What an inspirational woman. I'll try and dig the photos out of my Facebook profile and put them in the Facebook group into an album or something so that you guys can see. It was an amazing 4 days. But that's not the only story of that type. There are loads of other things happening in Malta, some of them really funny. So let's have a Malta week. If any of you have never been and are thinking about going, we can talk about it. And I can tell you all of the good things there. And I'll share some of my story. I've had some adventures in Malta. And I will let you go soon, I promise. Right, let's do a big push and get through these lovely comments from you lovely people so that we can all go. Let me see where. Oh, John very kindly sent me a £2 super chat. Really kind. Skick, absolutely, mate. I would totally do that. Diddly do, diddly do. Diddly do. Such a fab community, says Joe. It is, and I'm so grateful for it. Skick agrees. It is a good community, Joe, and I do have. Oh, this is lovely. And I do. Oh, I can't read the last bit, Skick. You understand? I can't read it, but yeah. And you do have a sense of. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough. I'm gonna start crying in a minute. Don't make me do that. It's wonderful. This whole thing is wonderful. Eaten nothing so far, says Mustard. I've been busy with editing and stuff. Well, you and me both, mate. Well, I haven't been busy with editing. I've been busy with getting home, driving over the Snake Pass, which was fantastic. God, I loved that. The noise that TF makes at night on the Snake Pass. It was wonderful. I hope the video comes out okay. I hope I didn't press the wrong button so it's recorded in slow motion or something stupid like that. I hope you have something to eat before you go to bed, Mustard. I certainly am going to. And thank you for lunch today. It was brilliant. God, I love that kebab. Cheeseburger says, Mustard, you had a big lunch. We saw it in the live. It wasn't that big. He had a small tub of curry, with a chapati, and that's all he had. He didn't even get to eat his salad because I ate it, and I've just remembered that I didn't eat it. Oh, the salad's still in my rucksack, but I'm going to put that in the fridge, and hopefully that will still be okay for tomorrow morning, tomorrow lunch. Will it? Oh, it would have been. It might still be. I'll put it in the fridge. I'll put it in the crisper. And we'll hope for the best. We'll hope that survives until tomorrow and I can have it for lunch. And Mustard says, cheese, it was just spicy soup and a couple of bits of bread. Well, it was effectively. And Cheeseburger says, Mustard, was Boaty paying? No, Boaty wasn't paying. It was Mustard Street today, Cheeseburger. Bless him. Uh, Pick a date and I will make it happen, says Pingu. Um, Gosh, oh, blimey. Well, my birthday is the 14th of January. So, yeah, I always used to be out there for the 14th. Um, I would like to stop in a decent hotel, though, Boaty. I would recommend, Skip, the place that I normally stop at. Oh, if any of you want to Google this, this is the hotel that I stay at. It, it's in a place called Aura, which it's pronounced Aura. It's spelled Qawra. It's pronounced Aura. And I stay in a hotel called the Dolmen Resort Hotel. So if any of you want to Google that, it's the Dolmen that I always stay in. Dolmen, Dolmen Resort Hotel, in a place called Aura. Now, when I started going out to Malta, Aura was beautiful. Now, quite honestly, it's not. But the hotel is fabulous. Out of season, it's exceptionally good value. And all of my friends are in and around Aura. And Lucy, her restaurant is in Aura. That's where I eat. I know where I am. It's like a second home to me. So even though Aura is not the place it used to be, that's where I still go. I just don't spend much time there. I use it as a base. I go up the coast, or I go to Gozo is the place to go. Gozo is still largely unspoiled. Malta is, a lot of Malta is spoiled now. You can go to Malta and have a really bad holiday if you go to the wrong place. If you end up in Bujuba, you would think it was awful. If you went to, oh God, if you went to Sliema, then you would think it was foul. You just need to know the places. There are parts of Malta that are still beautiful. Dingley is amazing. Down south, Marsaschlock is a beautiful place, market to visit, fantastic restaurants, great place to have lunch. If you go up the east coast, then once you get north of Bujuba, it all becomes fantastic, and it's great all the way up to the north coast then. And when you get to Gozo, then Gozo is all just fantastic. And in my eyes, Jlendi Bay is the jewel in the crown of Gozo. Although Vittoria, or Rabat, to give it its original name, is pretty fantastic too. We'll talk about all of this. Don't get me running too much on Malta when we should have gone 5 minutes ago. Let's get through these comments. So yeah, say you good night to everybody. We need to go. Where did I get to? Oh yeah, so decent hotel. Google that, Skip. Dolmen Resort Hotel. Dolmen. I bet he had extra chips, says Cheeseburger. I didn't. I had extra salad. I was going to buy extra salad, and Mustard was going to buy me extra salad, and I ended up nicking his, and then I felt guilty because I couldn't eat it, so I ate all of the kebab. I'm off to bed as I'm feeling unwell, says Sophie. Bless you. Good night, Boaty. See you soon. Good night, Sophie. Hope you feel better tomorrow. And sorry I can't stay up. Don't apologise. Oh, bloody hell, Pingu. God, that would be amazing. Oh, but I can't read those out. I'm going to get all... Video, crowdfunding announced. Oh, this is a title. Crowdfunding announced. The more we raise, the further we send him. I've screenshotted that. I will put something toward Boaty's trip if it's right. Something has been set up, says Skik. Apparently it has been set up, says Skik. Pingu sent me a message that appeared to have a link to this new page on it. Obviously I haven't had a chance to look yet, but diddly-do. Oh, that's a really nice story, Jason says. Yeah. I'll tell you the whole story when we've got more time. Title num. Oh, Neil, that's very sweet. Mary's final fling, may she fly high. That's lovely. Or Proud Mary, adds Cheeseburger. Oh, that is lovely. I'd love to do that. I have such memories of Mary, and I will. dig through my Facebook if we're friends, and I guess we're going back probably 5 years, something like that. You'll see a few photos from Malta trips. You'll see me with Fran, various other people, but all there are lovely photos of me and Mary together. I'll try and dig them out and I'll put them in the Facebook group for you. I don't know what I'll do with Cheeseburger because he doesn't do Facebook, so I don't know how to work around that. Oh, you all do YouTube, don't you? So if I dig out, if I can get all of the photos, I can put them on YouTube, can't I? On as a community post, and you can all see them. That's what I'll do. I'll do that tomorrow. Send the Reverend Boaty to Malta. Go fund me. Send the Reverend Boaty to Malta and don't let him come back. And Stephen S. Ball says, is this a one-way trip? Joe says, God, this Malta trip is going to be a mad one. Oh, and Joe says, congratulations, so close to 6K. I had a massive setback. I hit 5.9, and then either I did something that upset people and people unsubscribed, or I don't think it was that, because I didn't put up anything controversial. I think, as you get bigger, then you get a lot of bot accounts following you. And every so often, YouTube has a purge and they automatically delete any accounts that their system detects as being bot accounts, fake accounts. So I went from 5,901 down to 5,860, like that. YouTube obviously just wiped them out. But I've struggled back and I'm back now over 5.9. So yeah, heading towards 6K. Exciting. Night all, says Cheeseburger. It's been a good night and a good debate. Good night, Cheeseburger. Sleep tight. Great title, says Joe to Neil, R.O.P. Mary. Loads of rovers in Malta, says Cheeseburger. Yeah, there's a thriving classic car scene in Malta. I had the idea when I was spending a lot of time out there, and when I was considering or planning to move there, I couldn't because I was caring for my father. Otherwise, I probably would have gone. But I had the idea for what would have been a very good business, just driving cars to Malta, classic cars or modern classic cars. There's a great market for them in Malta. It's a great environment for them. And if you didn't realize, you can drive a car to Malta, drive through Europe, down the length of Italy, get the ferry from Italy to Sicily, drive across Sicily, and then there's a ferry from Sicily to Malta. So you can literally drive a car to Malta, and it will be worth so much more in Malta that you could actually earn a wage by doing that. Or at least I calculated that I thought you could. It won't let you copy and paste the link into comments, Pinger. We'll work around that. I'm going to sleep because at my age I love my sleep, says James. I can't stand being up past 1 a.m. And Joe wants to go to Malta as there's loads of rovers there. There really are. There are all sorts of classics in Malta. Indeed, there's a classic car museum in Aura, about 500 yards from the hotel. Good night, all. And Boaty, says James. Good night to you. Hi, all, says Andrew. Is someone going to Malta? Apparently. Title, crowdfunding. Send Boaty to Rwanda. Oh, as always, top level shithousery from Cheeseburger. Joe is 8 away from 100. Let's get Joe to 100 before I get to 6, shall we? If you're not subscribed to Joe, please go and subscribe. That's Cars with JC. It shows me you're on 6.92. Yeah, 6,920 something. Great market for classics in Malta, says Cheeseburger. Have you got Brewers Fiesta? No, I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about this. Cars don't rust there in Malta, says Stephen S. Paul. Be careful of the ruddy car bombs over there. That was one person. Yeah, that was one person. That was allegedly, that was quite a prominent journalist. Malta is quite corrupt, or it certainly was. And a journalist was getting to learn a bit too much, so the government blew her up, allegedly. Name of the hotel again, Skip. Dolmen Resort Hotel. DOL, Delta Oscar Lima Mike Echo November. Dolmen Resort Hotel in a place called Aura. Pronounced Aura, spelled Qawra. It's on the northeast coast of the island in St. Paul's Bay. And it's fabulous. Mustard has 81 subscribers. And that is, all right, let's do this. Let's do this before I go. Mustard has got another channel that he's resurrecting. It's called Mustard in the Kitchen. You probably won't find it. It's a small channel at the moment. He's got 81 subs. Oh, you've got it. Well done, Skik. So how are you going to find it? Mustard, give them the title of a Mustard in the Kitchen video that they can type in, find it, and subscribe to you. Because if you type in Mustard in the Kitchen, it doesn't bring you up, mate. As you know, you've searched for it yourself. It'll bring up Project Nigel videos that you've titled Mustard in the Kitchen. But before I go, give us the title of a Mustard in the Kitchen video so that they can see it and I will shout it out. And then I'm going. I'm going to, what am I going to do? Oh, God, luxury. I haven't got anything to do. I'm all up to date, aren't I? Until tomorrow morning when I have to do the daily diary and render all of today's wonderful footage and figure out what I'm going to do with it all. But for tonight, when I'm finished with this, I can make some supper and I can relax and watch some of your lovely videos. Must go now. Have a good night, everyone, says Andrew. Oh, that's a good idea, Joe. Add your second channel to your channel list on your Project Nigel YouTube channel. That is a good idea. Ah, right. Okay. Search for homemade spicy gravy sausages. And you should find that video. Find the Mustard in the Kitchen channel and subscribe. It's, yeah. Even if you don't like cooking, it's our friend Mustard. And so subscribe because we like him and we support him as a community, but you'll enjoy it. Even if you're not into cooking, you'll enjoy it because it's Mustard and he will be doing it with all of his mustard nonsense. Video title, Goats Don't Shave. Oh, go and have a shave, says Cheeseburger. Am I looking that? Do you not like the... Oh, God. Oh, you've made me feel paranoid now. I probably will shave before I go to bed. Is that it? Have we all said good night? Is everybody all done? No, I'm not all done. Thank you to everybody who's done lovely things today. Thank you to Jimmy and for sending a super chat. And thank you to John for your super chat. Thank you to Neil for donating a channel membership, and welcome back to channel membership, Sophie. And thank you to all of you for being here and keeping me company as you always do. You wonderful, wonderful people. Yeah, be careful where you're shaving. I will. Thank you for your company today, and I'm looking forward to spending a whole new week with you all. Of course, I will be back tomorrow night, 11 o'clock, 1 hour later, because I've got to go to work. I owe, so off to work I go. There will be stuff going up There might be more videos this week. So I've got, oh, stop talking, go to bed, let them go to bed. There'll be the daily diary, but on top of that, there's going to be Mustard and Boaty do lunch. There's going to be, and there's going to be a look, these are some cars we've got for sale video. And there's going to be a driving an MGTF over the Snake Pass at night video, if the footage all came out okay. And I'll figure out. God, I've got too much footage. I'll have to decide what to put in the daily diary. We'll deal with that. Just go. Let them get on with it. Bloody hell. Good night to you all, my darlings. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the lovely things that you're doing and trying to do. And thank you, Pingu, for this incredible kindness. I'm genuinely moved beyond words. So I'm going to shut up and get off. Oh, gosh. So I don't know what to say to that. You're all just too lovely. So let's just go. All right, darlings. Okay. Bless you all. Please have a safe and peaceful night. I hope that you sleep well. Have the best day that you can tomorrow. And I will see you. There'll be a daily diary out tomorrow. Of course there will. There might be another video as well. I've not got a clue what's going on. I've got footage to work through. And of course, I will see you tomorrow night, live, 11 o'clock. I may have shaved. I may not have. This is the jeopardy that you get with Boaty. All right, darlings. So thank you so much. Much love to you all. Can't wait to see you next time. Sleep tight.